How are we doing this morning?
Come on.
You know, if you notice, I usually don't ask that question because I assume everything is fine and dandy. But it's a little funky out there. Yeah, it's not raining, it's not snowing, the sun is thinking about it. But it's one of those times when you feel like you want to sleep extra.
Yep.
Yeah.
Preach.
If you want to do that, you can always go back out. Because inside here today, we're going to talk about the Word of God.
Come on.
And the power of the authority of our God Almighty, amen. He's an amazing God. Let's turn to 1 Samuel chapter 19. We're going to start there. Of course, we've been undergoing this new series that we have entitled The Valley of Giants. We know, of course, that we all have giants to face in our lives. Don't we?
Yep.
In every aspect of it. And we know that David was a young man who obviously became a pretty powerful king eventually. And throughout his life, David had to undergo a series of giants. Difficulties, issues that would determine who he would become for God. We know that some of these giants were faults of his own. Things that he partook in creating that were rather harsh. But we also know that a lot of them were just challenges that God was throwing at him. And today we're going to talk about one of those challenges that are not necessarily David's fault, but that God deemed important in his life. Amen? The series is entitled The Valley of Giants, but the message today is entitled Authority Galore. A lot of authority. Authority to the infinite. We live in times today when the word authority, especially in America, is changing its definition on a daily basis. What does authority ultimately mean? Speaking of authority, I have a great pleasure to reintroduce my mother who is visiting from Atlanta, Georgia. Seya. She's been some type of authority in my life. We'll discuss that further. But in all seriousness, she's been the right kind of authority in my life for the past almost 40 years. And I would like for her to stand up again. I know she stood up on Wednesday, but more people are here. So, Mom, please go and stand on up. Seya, I introduce you to her again. I always rave about the fact that God used my mother to save so many souls in our family. And she's a hero in our family. She's an anchor. And she's been a disciple for almost 30 years. And what's amazing about my mother is that she has gone through a lot, good and bad, but she's never looked back. And I always encourage you to get to know her more, amen. We have yet another couple with their daughter who have moved from Baltimore, Maryland. And some of us already know them. I'm actually getting to know them today, really, for the first time. But we have Eric and Latrice Hess. Eric and Latrice are not visiting. This is their home. They're going to be with us for as long as God needs them to do His work here in the Dayton area. Amen. We are incredibly excited by your presence. I heard that Miss Latrice can cook. so obviously I'm excited about that. Should really have you guys over instead of us going to your house. Man, we are always excited when we have new people coming in. It's been so great for me to stand up here the past like 4 weeks in a row and just gonna announce people coming in, whether it's just for visiting purposes or it's to stay. I love it. Amen. Amen. Now again, like I said, my mother has been an authority figure in my life for almost 40 years now. And I say almost because contrary to whoever wrote this bulletin, I don't see my name in the list of birthdays.
Oh.
If you are visiting for the first time, we are a family. And we do make amends.
Wow.
And I just want to say this just real fast. These birthdays are awesome, but I believe mine is just the best. 6-6.
Whoa.
I did escape that funky year by 12. I won 78, so it's okay. Just a consistency.
6-6.
I will be turning 40 this coming Wednesday. It's going to be actually, we're going to be here together. So I'm excited to, this is my birthday gift is going to have, be to have you guys with me for midweek. Amen? It's going to be a regular midweek, okay? Don't come with the mindset of partying and things like that. Regular midweek.
Come on.
Sorry.
Whenever we're the Lord of the song.
Yeah. Also, real quick, couple of days that need to be changed here. The ACR conference coming up in October is actually from the 11th to the 14th. And I believe that a typo was made on the bulletin here. It says here from the 21st of October to the 24th. So I know that the dates were correct on the screen, but of course sometimes we go by the bulletin, and we should. But a typo was made here. Yet again, another small typo, and we'll be done with that, is the list of midweeks. This coming Wednesday again for my birthday. I'm excited. Congregational. But then the 13th, the week later, it's going to be men's, the 20th women's, and the 27th, it says here women's again, but it's going to be another congregational. It's always congregational, men, women, and then congregational. Amen. A to the man. And kudos to my Gemini people. Where's Kalina? Yeah, Kalina, there you go. Gemini. Who else is Gemini here? All right. Kudos to y'all. Amen. Forget the Geminis. Let's go in the Word of God. 1 Samuel chapter 19. The Bible says, Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. Of course, we know that David had killed Goliath, had become responsible for a whole lot of victories for Israel. Not for Saul, but for Israel. And of course, King Saul was seeing things in a more personal way. As far as he was concerned, whatever victories were attributed to Israel should have been given to him. But you know what? The name that was being balanced and thrown out here and there was that of David, a young man. And Saul became jealous. But Jonathan had taken a great liking to David and warned him, my father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the field where you are. I'll speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out. Verse 4, Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father and said to him, let not the king do wrong to his servant David. He has not wronged you. And what he has done has benefited you greatly. See, sometimes we get so sinful and jealous, we don't even see that the person that we're jealous of is actually helping us. Because our eyes are blinded by envy. Verse 5, he took his life in his hands when he killed the Philistine. The Lord won a great victory. The Lord, not you, Saul, not you, the king, the Lord. The Lord won a great victory for all Israel, and you saw it and were glad. Why then would you do wrong to an innocent man like David by killing him for no reason? Saul listened to Jonathan and took his oath. As surely as the Lord lives, David will not be put to death. So Jonathan called David and told him the whole conversation. He brought him to Saul, and David was with Saul as before. And we can see that Saul is kind of going back and forth. Doesn't really know what to do. His mind is not set. Do I kill David? Yes. Oh, but you know what? I'm easily swayable. My son tells me not to kill David, so I'm not going to kill him. You would think that because he decides to do the right thing, that he's in the right place. Many a time, we're in the wrong, and then we decide to finally do what's right. But not with the right mindset. Not with the mindset of brokenness, not of contrition about what Jesus did for us. That's not what guided us. And because we're not guided by that, we do the right thing for a second. It's all based on emotion. And we go back to our old ways in a timely manner. We know that Saul went back to his old ways. Let's jump in verse 14. When Saul sent the men to capture David, Micah said he's ill. Then Saul sent the men back to see David and told him, bring him up to me in his bed so that I may kill him. Went back to his old ways. But when the men entered, there was the idol in the bed, and all the head was some goat hair. Saul said to Micah, why did you deceive me like this and send my enemy away so that he can escape? Micah told him, he said to me, let me get away. Why should I kill you? When David had fled and made his escape, he went to Samuel in Ramah and told him all that Saul had done to him. Then he and Samuel went to Naioth and stayed there. Word came to Saul, David is in Naioth at Ramah. So again, he sent men to capture him. But when they saw a group of prophets prophesying with Samuel standing there as their leader, the Spirit of God came on Saul's men. And they also prophesied. That's kind of cool, isn't it? All of a sudden they just stopped prophesying. Saul was told about it. And he sent more men, and they prophesied too. Saul sent men a third time, and they also prophesied. Yeah, whoever is clapping is right. Finally, he himself left from Ramah and went to the great cistern of Seku. And he asked, where are Samuel and David? Over in Naioth at Ramah, they said. So Saul went to Naioth at Ramah, but the Spirit of God came even on him. And he walked along prophesying until he came to Naioth. He stripped off his garments and he too prophesied in Samuel's presence. He lay naked all that day and all that night. This is why people say, is Saul also among the prophets? Saul tried to kill David numerous times. And he didn't realize that he was always under the control of God. God could do whatever he wanted to do with him. His Spirit could come on him and could leave. Do we get that ourselves? Or do we take the Spirit for granted? And we walk around like we own this, like we got this. We take it for granted. The Spirit, if you were baptized, that you received that day, you got to keep feeding it. It's got to stay. Saul didn't feed it. He became jealous. And this is not even the giant that we're going to talk about today. But there is the giant of jealousy and envy. Have you ever been jealous? Has jealousy ever led you to do something completely ridiculous? Because so-and-so just got a Benz, I'm going to go and put myself in debt, get myself a Lexus. Envy. Have you found yourself thinking, you know what? Why am I so angry at someone who is successful? Who hasn't done nothing to me? See, jealousy became a huge giant for Saul. What about us? I've always wanted to be a minister. It was always my dream. For the right reasons. I always wanted to serve God. I was never going to relent. I was never going to look back. You guys know the story. But you know what? It started to overtake me at some point. And when I was in my country, I was in Ivory Coast. I had just become a Christian. I was excited for Jesus. I was young. I was 16 years old. I was asked to lead a group of adults. I thought I was somebody. And you know, I didn't even realize I was becoming prideful and big-headed. Just going about my day. But I still did love Jesus. And I remember this one fateful night, after leading himself a Bible discussion, my father calls me. He sees me on top of his car right there. He had a little white Mercedes-Benz. Tell me, won't you sit down? Let me talk to you. I just turned 18. He tells me, you know what, son? It's time for you to grow up. It's time for you to get away. And I got just the idea. Your sister is already in the U.S. and you're going to go and join her. Now, you know, usually the idea of going to the U.S. from Africa is amazing. I wasn't excited. I loved when I was going back home. I love how God was using me. I love what was going on. But you know, after thinking, you know what? Yeah, he's probably right. It was my time to move on. I come to the U.S., I was 18 years old, and I discovered something that was crazy. The Tino that was known in Ivory Coast, all over the place, the church revered him. Nobody know him here? Who are you? And it was something that I used to relish all the time, was as a leader, attending leaders' meetings on Sundays after church. Oh, I love those. And for those of you who may have been leaders in the past, you remember wanting to go to the leaders' meeting? It was glamorous. It was awesome. Now it's a pain to drag you to leaders' meetings. But you know what? I'm over here and I remember talking to my main man, my big brother. He was my disciple at the time, my mentor. That's a word that we use for those of us who are visiting today. Discipler, mentor. You know what? I'm ready to go to leaders' meeting today. And my good buddy Mike Lamb tells me, no, you're going nowhere. You don't leave, Jack. You stay here. And what was good about Mike Lamb, he's like, he had not lived anywhere else but the U.S., but he had visited before. And we have known each other from being at Hope Youth Corps together and things like that. And he understood that me being in the U.S. for the first time, not having what I had before in my country, was indeed difficult. He related to me, but he also used it as a way to morph me into a stronger man, into a more humble man. Me not going to leaders' meetings and not leading anything, just being a quote-unquote regular Christian, humbled me. And I became jealous because I saw other folks who were quote-unquote younger than me spiritually coming and being asked to lead Bible talks and doing different things. And I couldn't stand this. Made me sick. My sin was just rotten in my heart. I mean, even talking about it right now, I have goosebumps. It was nasty. I could smell my sin physically. That's how bad it was. Envy. My heart for leadership and my heart for going to leaders' meeting had no longer anything to do with God. It was all about me and my accomplishments. How many people I'm studying the Bible with? How many people I'm going to baptize? Remember words like fruits? Bearing fruits? Words like visitors? I was the king of these terms. I remember Mike Glenn telling me one day, you know what, you always mention the word quiet time. I am tired of you using those words. That is so just talk about your walk with God, man. Quiet. It's so just legalistic. You know, whatever it was, whether it was legalistic or not, the truth is, I became more focused on the word quiet time than the content of it. I became more focused in telling people that I had my quiet time this morning than remembering what in the word I had just read. I became jealous. Jealous of good buddies like Rami. Good buddies like Raul. Jealous of folks who became my mentors, who were younger than me, even in age. It was inconceivable for me. I had forgotten that I had led a group of adults myself. You know, that's what sin does. Completely closes your eyes. And thus I forgot about authority. Because that's what jealousy does. It makes you forget completely who God has put in your life. And that person is of God. I believe that King Saul forgot. God brought David in my life. So I can succeed, yes. But so I can learn from him. And he became jealous. Is that you this morning? What's going on at work? With your boss? You see, as messed up as King Saul was, David's attitude is in 1 Samuel chapter 26. A couple of chapters over. We know, of course, in chapter 24, that he had an opportunity to destroy King Saul, and he decided not to. Because for him, King Saul was anointed by God. But what's amazing is that the opportunity repeated itself. It's one thing to be tempted to do something, and you successfully go through the temptation without sinning. It's another thing when that temptation comes back, twofold. Chapter 26, verses 9 to 11. Bible says, but David said to Abishai, don't destroy him. Abishai wanted to kill Saul. Don't destroy him. Who can lay a hand on the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? As surely as the Lord lives, he said, the Lord himself will strike. He will strike him in his time. Or his time will come and he will die. Or he will go into battle and perish. But the Lord forbid that I lay a hand on the Lord's anointed. Do you believe that your boss is anointed by God to be over you at work? I know that we comprehend that a little bit more from a spiritual standpoint. Right? When the pastor of the church, the evangelist, leads the church, it's a little easier for us to follow what he says. The same goes for what goes on out there in the world. What's going on at work? What's going on at school for our teens, for those who are college students? Do we see our teachers and professors as people of authority? And sometimes they're messed up. They're not pleasant people. Do we tell ourselves, you know what? He or she is indeed anointed. Because those people become giants in our lives. You see, Saul became a giant. I believe a bigger giant than Goliath in David's life. He kept chasing him, wanting to kill him. Have you ever had that person always wanting to mess you up? Whether it's at work or even at home sometimes. Just don't get along with mommy and daddy. And you feel like mommy and daddy always are out to mess me up. Sorry, the scripture says to honor them. Authority galore. The truth is, we are called to submit to the authority, not just of these men and women, but to God's authority. And authority thus becomes a giant in our lives because we don't know how to do it. And I'm going to tell you, especially in America, because it's a free country. You know what's easy at work? If your boss just can't stand it, you can just pick up and leave. Quit your job. There will be repercussions. But at least you don't have to deal with him anymore. Because you're free to do that. It's an at-will situation. You can just get up and go. Do you find yourself staying at work although your boss is difficult? Only because you need the money? Or because you challenge yourself, you know what? He is anointed by God. I'm not only going to stay here, but I'm actually going to sell his vision to the rest. I'm actually going to take the vision that I may not even agree with, and I'm going to sell it. Because God anointed him. What's going on at home? See, our first point is submission, the giant. What's going on with one another? We're going to talk about that in a minute. Wives, what's going on at home with our husbands? When it comes to submission. Yeah, that's a stronger, heavier S word, and you know why. We don't like to talk about submission. It becomes taboo. It's a horrible world out there. And the world out there tells us the submission is for the weak. It's against the principles of freedom. Wives are called to submit. Share your opinion. Husband shares his. An executive decision has to be made in the end. If there's a disagreement, husband makes it. You go with it or you get mad. Yeah, I've heard out there, and I believe in it, that we all need to be on the same page when it comes to a decision, especially a big one. But that's when the word is perfect. When there's no same page at that very moment, and a decision ought to be made, then what? Wives, Will you submit? Follow your husband. Even if he's a jerk. Right? Because the truth is, you want your kids to submit to you, even if you are being jerkish sometimes. What's the call? What goes on at home? Submission to giant. I believe submission is such a giant in our lives. Such a giant in our lives. I've shared many a time the battles here and there that I've had to face at times between my mother and I. Because of disagreements, the way things go sometimes. It's life. And as I've grown, I've learned to develop my own set of ideas, my own principles. You can forget sometimes this is the woman who carried you for 9 months and allowed you to learn to develop those very principles. And so sometimes you get into it. And she allows you the leeway to get to a certain limit. And it hasn't been pretty all the time, especially in the past year. We have not always seen eye to eye. But when I finally decided, you know what? Regardless of whether I agree with her or not, I'm going to honor my mama. I'm going to stop fighting her. If she needs to talk to me, I will pay an ear, and I will not judge right away. I will try to listen. If I don't agree with it, I will just pray and go about my business. And there was a time when things became pretty hard. We could barely talk to one another. Because I did not want to listen. I didn't want to put her on a pedestal anymore. But ever since I've made that decision, we've been better. I'm glad my mama is here for the next week or so. We've had some good times. And yes, she knows she can still talk to me. May not agree, I may. That's not the issue. As long as I have an ear to pay attention. That's because I recognize the authority that she is for me still today. You know, something's been going on lately in my house. We have this nice sofa bed that my mom is sleeping on. And in the name of spending a little time with her, I stay downstairs, watch some TV till she falls asleep. Sometimes I fall asleep before her. And if you know my snoring, you know that it's a disaster. If you're judging me right now, you're insane.
Ain't judging. I'm there.
Right, Chris? That's right. My mama in my house tells me, get up, take your butt upstairs. Woo. Last time I checked, her name was not on the list. But you know what I do? I either wake back up to finish what I'm doing, I straighten myself out, or I actually get up and go back upstairs. Do what she tells me. It's my mom. Whether I agree or not. Point 2, and we'll be done here in a second, where the rubber meets the road. Ephesians chapter 5.
Continue.
Ephesians 5 verse 21. Make sure I'm reading the right scripture here.
It's right up there, man.
Give me 1 second. One second. This is a good part.
I was going to say, it's right behind.
Oh, there you go. For some reason, my Bible was a little All right, so you can read that right there. My Bible is not submitting to me right now. But submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. That's where the rubber meets the road, brothers and sisters. Because we can sit here and say, wives, submit to your husbands. Oh, kids, you better submit to your parents. But I got a revolutionary thought. Let me take that back. The Bible has a revolutionary thought. We are called to submit to one another. How's that going, husbands? When is the last time you find yourself submitting to your wife? Where you knew, for example, yes, I have the leeway to make whatever decision I want. And on this one, I want to do this. But my wife says no, she wants to do something else. You know what? I'm going to do what she says. You know, it's harder to deny yourself to do what someone else wants when you have the leeway to do what you want. Yeah. How's it going, husbands? When was the last time you put your wife on a pedestal? And you were at her feet. So I'm going at home with my little one, Sean. Man, he'd be crying, y'all. I tell you. And sometimes I'm just having my little freedom. I just need to rest. And I just hear that door upstairs. I'm like, oh, that's my wife. She's gonna bring Sean to me. And when she says, Can you keep him for a minute for something? I'm free! And unfortunately, sometimes I even make a little, like, oh, come on. It's wrong. I should submit to her. I should open up. I should have her bring my son. Give her a break. She did carry him for 9 months. I'm learning that. I'm learning how, when, where, and all the other W's, why I should submit to my wife. Because I'm going to tell you something. In our culture of churches, and I've been a Christian 24 years, since I was a teenager till now, all I've heard when it comes to submitting is the wives need to submit to their husbands. That's not false. But I believe that we have omitted something. That us brothers, us husbands, ought to also submit to our sisters, to our wives. We ought to present them radiant before God. Perfect, without blemish. The question is, do we do that? Do we submit to our children? Oh, don't say that in front of the kids because they're going to. Do we put them first? Yeah, we put them first when it comes to money, providing a home. Do we truly put them first? In every aspect of our lives. When we do them wrong, do we apologize? Right. That's hard for parents, y'all. Yeah, my son is only a year and he's 20 months, my oldest, I have to apologize to him sometimes. In fact, the whole family had to apologize to him a couple of days ago. Because we accused him of losing his brother's Becky when I'm the one that lost it. Now, I had the whole family join me in apologizing to him because they were also all accusing him. Okay? My mama, Chantrice, his auntie, his mom. I believe even his brother was probably accusing him. Poor Miles. The Valley of Giants, brothers and sisters. I believe that submission, authority, that's a giant in our lives. I believe the way that we are even raised, the way that we're even raising our kids today, we're not raised in a way that we pay attention in submitting to others. You know, my son started to talk. And lately when Holly comes over, they have a great connection. And he'd be saying her name, Holly, Holly, Holly. I have to stop him. No! If you want to say Holly, you got to learn yet another word. Auntie. Doesn't fly in my home. We go around and we don't even know how to revere those who are older than us. We allow our kids to call those who are older by their first name. And that's a surfacing thing, but it shows what goes on in the bottom. We may teach them respect, but not to its fullest. We may teach them to submit, but not completely. I refuse for my son to call you by your first name. He's going to have to call you uncle or auntie. In that aspect, do we put our children first? Teaching them that. I know it's a difficult nation to do that here. That's my principle. Doesn't have to be yours. The way I was brought up, I have a hard time calling those who are older. I have to create words to call those who are older than me by their name. I have to create words. Words like big bro or elder or something like that. I can't just call someone who is 10, 20 years older than I by his first name. That's the way I was brought up. But it's all about submission. And my prayer is that we do treat submission as a giant, because if we can't do that, then we'll face it head on, like David faced Goliath. We'll face it head on, like David faced King Saul. We'll learn to submit, like David learned to submit to King Saul. Amen? Amen. Because that's where the rubber meets the road. Brothers and sisters, I'm indebted in love and in everything else with this church. You guys are amazing. And we have work to do. We have to grow in love. We have to grow in humility. We have to grow in calling one another out without feeling the fear that someone is going to do something to us. But we have to grow in submitting to one another. Husbands have to learn to submit to their wives. Wives have to learn to submit to their husbands. Same with the kids. Same with every aspect of our lives. Work, school, on the streets. If we can do that, I believe that the vision that God has for us is without limit. Amen, brothers and sisters? Amen. To God be the glory.